So in this video we will look at the formal definition of differentiation in real analysis. So we'll take a function f which is defined on the interval ab, which is real valued. We say that the function f is differentiable at a point x inside its domain if and only if this limit exists. So the limit as t approaches x, so t is going to be the variable of the function that we're taking the limit of, and we're taking the limit as we approach this value x, this point in our domain. And the thing that we're taking the limit of is a quotient, and the quotient is as follows: f of t minus f of x, so f of t is a varying function, f of x is then a constant, the value of the function at the point x, over t minus x. And when I say this limit exists, I mean it must be some finite value, it cannot be infinite. And if this limit exists, we call the value of it the derivative at the point x, and we denote it f prime of x. So let's now understand what this means. So I've drawn a picture here of the function f, so it's defined on the interval ab, so here is our interval ab, and then this is a graphical representation of the function f over the interval ab. And then I've got some point here, x, that is within our domain, and we're going to consider what differentiability at x really means. So what we can now do is plot a second graph, and that's what I'm doing down here, and this is going to be the graph of this quotient function. So this is going to be defined on the same interval as the original function, so from a to b. There is one exception, which is the point x. It's not actually going to be defined for that point x, because of course when you put in x here for t, you get division by 0 here, so it's not defined. But for all the other points in the interval ab, you can put them in here as t. The function f will be defined for them, and therefore you can work out what this value is and then plot that as a graph, and that's what I've done here. Of course, values that are outside of the interval ab, you're not going to be able to plug in as your t because the function f isn't defined necessarily for those. So only values of t between a and b in the interval that our initial function is defined on are going to be defined for this quotient function. So let's think about what the value of this quotient function actually means. So to do this, let's take a general point t in our domain of definition for this. So we've got a point here, and let's think about what this means. So I've zoomed in the picture here to help us. So here is our point x, and here's the value of the function there, and here's our point t, and here's the value of the function there, and this is the graph in between. And I realize it isn't an exact copy of that, but I actually have amended this picture so that it fits more with what I've drawn down here. So, examining then the quotient, we want to take the value of f at t and subtract off the value of f at x. That then is going to be the difference in the value of f on our graph here. So as you go from x to t, the value of f has changed. So we can draw a little triangle here, and this little side here is going to be that top part of the quotient here, the change in f. And then the bottom part, t minus x, that is how much you've changed in the x direction. So how much you've changed in the domain. So really what this is capturing is rise over run. And it's going to be the gradient of the secant line that connects the 2 points. So this quotient for the point t means go from this point for the point x to this point for the point t, connect the two, and then what is the gradient of that connecting secant line? So I've written that term out because it's very important in differentiation, the concept of a secant line. It means connect 2 points on the graph. That straight line is called a secant line, and the gradient of that is very important when we're understanding this formal definition of differentiation. So to go through this again, you can take any point in the domain, any t, apart from x itself, and you can look at what the value of the function is at t. You can then consider drawing a secant line between the point x f of x and the point t f of t, and then the gradient of that secant line is going to be given by this quotient here, f of t minus f of x, which gives you how much you're changing f as you go from x to t, and then divided by t minus x, which is how much you're changing x as you go from x to t, so t minus x. And that's going to tell you how steep the secant line is. So if it's a positive value, the secant line will be positively inclined, like so. If it's a negative value, as in the case of this function where delta f is going to be negative, f of t is going to be smaller than f of x, and t minus x is going to be positive, so overall you've got a negative divided by a positive, overall giving a negative. So that corresponds with this negatively gradient secant line, so they'll be going like in this sort of direction. And very high positive values will correspond to a secant line with a very steep positive gradient. Smaller positive values will correspond to a less steep positive gradient. Small negative values will correspond to a less steep negative gradient, and very high negative values will correspond to a steep negative gradient. So you can plot the gradient of all of these secant lines from x to every other point in the domain from A to B, and that's what we've done here. The only point you can't do it for is x, because it's nonsense. You can't connect a secant line from x f of x to x f of x. You end up with no line at all, so you can't talk about what the gradient of that is equal to. So we can't ask what is the value of this function at x, but instead we can ask, is there a limit of this function as you approach x? Is there, for instance, as I've drawn on this graph, a point where the function should be at x, a hole in this graph, a natural answer? And if it is the case that the limit does exist, that you are approaching some value as t approaches x, so the right hand and left hand limit are both going to need to exist and they're going to need to equal the same thing, then we will say that the original function is differentiable at x, and we will call that value that you're approaching as t approaches x the derivative at x, f prime of x. Now the derivative, if it exists at the point x, has a very important meaning. It is the gradient of the tangent line to the curve, so the line that just touches the curve like so, and captures its instantaneous gradient at that point x. And the reason it's going to be that value is because if you imagine these secant lines from x to points t, and then bringing this t closer and closer to x, if you imagine what's going to happen to those secant lines, they're going to get closer and closer to being the gradient of that tangent line, and that's going to be the case from both sides. If you come from this side, if you imagine t being below x, and you bring it closer and closer, you can see that the gradient of these secant lines is again going to approach the value of that tangent line's gradient. And that's why the limit as t approaches x of this quotient function, that missing value there is going to actually be the value of that tangent line's gradient. So I can show this better on this zoomed in picture. So here we have our original t that I drew, and here is its secant line. Now what we can imagine do is bringing t closer to our point x. So I've brought it closer here, and here we've got this secant line. And then we can imagine bringing it closer up to here, and now we draw its secant line from the point x f of x to t f of t. And you can see that as you get closer and closer and closer, the gradient of these secant lines is going to get closer and closer to what you can imagine is the gradient of the tangent line to the curve here. So if the function is nice, and the gradient of these secant lines approaches something as t approaches x, then we say that the function is differentiable at x, and we say that the limit of the gradient of these secant lines as t approaches x is the derivative, and it is intuitively the gradient of the tangent line at the point x. So there is another way that you might commonly see this written. Instead of writing the limit like so, you might see it written in this way instead: the limit as h approaches 0 of f of x plus h minus f of x over h. This is actually the exact same thing as this. If this exists, this will exist. If this exists, this will exist, and they'll have the same value. This one is just, instead of being written in terms of a point t that is somewhere in the domain AB, except for the point x itself, This one is instead written in terms of the change in x that you have made to get to the point t. So h is this delta x, it's this t minus x. So in fact we can fill in here for h, t minus x, and we'll get back to this exact thing that we had before. So putting in t minus x there, we've got the right denominator, and then putting in t minus x here, you get f of t minus f of x. So it becomes that. So plotting this function, this quotient, it's going to be the exact same graph, except that we've changed the domain of definition slightly. It's now all going to have been translated to the left a little bit, so it's going to look like this. So here we have this quotient as a function of h, which is our delta x. So the place where it's not going to be defined is 0, because if you make no change in delta x, that's equivalent to staying at the point x. It's equivalent to putting in x here for t. So the whole there is now at 0. And then the function is going to go from a minus x, which is the biggest negative change you can make in delta x. So that's the biggest h can be in the negative direction. If you put a minus x in, that corresponds to putting a t value of a here. And then at this end, the upper boundary is going to be b minus x, which corresponds to the biggest forward change in x that you can make. And that corresponds to having a t value of b here. So this function is effectively equivalent to this function. They do have different domains, but all you've done is slide this to the left a little bit. And the limit of this one as h approaches 0 is going to be the same as the limit of this one as t approaches x. This one is generally more helpful for actually computing derivatives of specific functions. However, the other initial definition is often more helpful for proving theorems in real analysis. So let's finish the video by doing an example. So we'll take the function f of x is equal to x squared, which is of course defined over the entire real line. And then we'll try and find what the derivative of this function is at a general x, where x is some general point in the real line. And this is going to be the limit as h approaches 0 of f of x plus h, which is x plus h squared, minus f of x, which is x squared, divided by h. We can then do a bit of algebraic manipulation, so just expand this bracket, we'll get x squared plus 2xh plus h squared minus x squared divided by h, and we're of course going to cancel those x squareds. So that leaves us with this is equal to the limit as h approaches 0 of 2xh plus h squared divided by h. Now of course the function, this quotient function, this rise over run function, is not defined at h is equal to 0. So we're only interested in all the other values of h, and for all the other values of h that are non-zero, the multiplicative inverse of h is going to exist, so we can cancel this h away. So cancelling the h will leave us with this is the limit as h approaches 0 of 2x plus h. Plotting that function then now, it will give us something like this. So of course the initial function was defined over the entire real line, so h can now vary over the entire real line. The only place where it's not defined is going to be 0. So plotting this as a graph, it's going to be a nice straight line, and the intercept here is going to be 2x, where x was the original point that you were trying to find the derivative at. And you can see that as h goes to 0, the value that you are getting closer and closer to is indeed that intercept. Of course, I've drawn a hole there because it isn't defined at h is equal to 0, but that, of course, is where you're converging to as x gets closer and closer to 0, either from the right or from the left. So that limit then is just the value 2x, and that's then why the derivative of the function x squared is 2x at all points. So go to any point in the real line, any point x, and the derivative, the gradient of the tangent line for this function is going to be 2 times that value x. So a nice simple example there, and with that we'll end the video. Thank you for watching.